Hello, Record Hunter here. Cheers. Today we are drinking Too Wet Brew from Mars Brewery. Okay, well today I'm going to show you some early heavy metal from the late 60s and early 70s. Some people call it prototype metal, other people call it early doom, but it's heavy metal. And I'm going to show you 10 albums plus one more. The first one I'm going to show you is Black Sabbath. The first album by Black Sabbath, because when you think heavy metal, you think Black Sabbath and Ozzy. And, the Black Sabbath, The Wizard, NIB, these are all classic songs off this album. This came out in January 1970. But there were a few bands that came out before, which I feel that need to be known, and is earlier versions of heavy metal. At least has somewhat of a heavy metal sound. Okay, the first one I'm going to go with is from 1968. This is Blue Cheer with Vin Cerebus Eruptum. And I'd say the cover they do of Summertime Blues, it's so heavy. It's tuned down, has that really heavy, it's super loud. They prided themselves on being the loudest band out there. And this is definitely on the same lines of the tuning down. It's on the same lines of Sabbath, how Sabbath tuned down their guitar. They tune it down. I don't know why they tune it down, to just try to get a heavy sound. Sabbath tuned it down because Iommi was missing some fingers, and he was able to play that way with it tuned down because it hurt to try to play it tuned up high. Well, the next band I want to show you is Spooky Tooth. This is their second album. This is from 1968. This is Spooky 2. And they have a couple really heavy songs on here. One is called Evil Woman. It's kind of Sabbath-ish, that heavy C-sharp tuning. And Better By You, Better To Me. Judas Priest covered that song. And here's another band. This is the second record. The first one they put out, I think the year before, but that was a little more heavy blues. It was from 67 or 66. Okay, now I'm going to show you from 1969, one of my favorite bands, and from my city, from Chicago, Coven. And the name of this record is Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls. This band is the first ones to play a satanic mass on the end of their record cover. The first ones to do this before Dio or before Kiss. And this is from 1969, and they have a song on here called Black Sabbath, which is very fast and kind of metal. Where you can see where it could kind of fall under early heavy metal. Metal, doom, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I'm going to show you Lucifer's Friend from 1971. This band here is a pretty cool band. They kind of sound like Deep Purple. When Deep Purple was really heavy, the early 70s there. I didn't show Deep Purple, but because everybody knows Purple. But so the singer sounds a little bit like Ian Gillan from Deep Purple and a little bit like Bruce Dickinson. And they have a really great song here called Ride the Sky. You should check out. Okay, now I'm going to show you another record from 1971. This is Sir Lord Baltimore. And this is a little more I don't know, I think they're from New York, but don't hold me to that, but they have kind of that Detroit sound, like MC5 or the Stooges, but a little on the metal side, pretty heavy, good album. Really killer album, actually. This is worth giving a spin, or picking up, if you can find one. Okay, now I'm going to show you from Japan, from 1971, Blues Creation. Their first album was from 1969, but that was very blues. And this one was, you could totally tell that they heard Black Sabbath and jumped on the Black Sabbath bandwagon. They're from Japan. They have very Japanese, what's the word I'm looking for here? They sound Japanese, and it's a really good album if you're like Black Sabbath. So now the most famous band of the records I'm showing is Pentagram. This is the First Days Here. This is a compilation of songs from 1971 to 1976. They came back in the 80s and they kind of like recreated Doom with Trouble and Saint Vitus and a few of those other kind of bands. But Forever My Queen and Lady I can't see this. Forever My Queen, Lazy Lady, some good songs right here. I definitely would pick this record up if you could find it. 1971, Jerusalem, another Sabbath worship band. Very good, heavy stuff. And then I would say this is my favorite of the Sabbath worship bands. This is Bang. This is their second record. They have a song called Questions. It's really great on here. And Lions and Christians. It's from 1972. And the first album sounds kind of like, I would say, like kind of like Pink Floyd-ish, which is good, but it got released later. And like later, like, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And then their other two albums are a little more like hard rock. And then the last record I want to show you is this band called Ice Cross. This is from 1973. They have a song on here called Nightmare. And they're pretty cool. The vocals sound kind of like Dave Mustaine. I feel like if like Megadeth would have came out in 1973 instead of like, you know, when he came out with Metallica in 82, that maybe they would have sounded like this. So if you're a Megadeth fan and you would have said, hey, I wonder how Megadeth would have sounded in the early 70s, pick this record up. Well, that's it. That's the 10 records I was going to show you. I have a lot more of these records, so if you're interested in me showing you more of these 70s hard rock, early heavy metal, heavy blues stuff, let me know, and I'll make a second video, maybe even a third one, but I'm going to space them out, just letting you know. That's it for right now. Catch you when the hunt is on, and like and subscribe, please. Cheers from the Record Hunter.